And there we are. Cool, we're live. Sweet. What's up, guys? I'm Tyler Rosso. You are the internet, and I'm trying something new today. I'm streaming. I want to make this a regular thing. Basically, long story short, I know stuff about music theory. I'm into the metal and rock community. I know a lot of people want to learn about theory, but haven't. And so I'm just going to start taking songs and doing musical analyses. Right here, I have King for a Day by Pure Surveil featuring Kellen Quinn. That's not metal. Yeah, who cares? It's alternative. Anyways, we're going to just break it down. I just downloaded the tab again. I haven't looked or analyzed anything yet. I just know there's a lot of interesting things that happen in this song. So we're going to look at what those are and talk about them a little bit, and feel free to leave music theory related questions because I like answering them. So here we go. Here's the intro. This is well, you know what it sounds like. This is all gonna be MIDI. I don't want to get copyright stricken. So here's the intro. Oh, that sounds good, huh? All right, so first thing I want to do is kind of try to figure out what the key of the song is, and I know that this song is tuned to drop B on guitars. Now, just because you're in drop whatever, B doesn't mean you're in the key of B. Drop A doesn't mean you're in the key of A. It's all dependent on the song. You tune to make the song the easiest to play for what that key is. Now, in metal, luckily, that usually means you're hanging out on the open notes, which means you usually are in the key of the tuning. So drop B is normally in the key of B, but not always. That's not a golden rule. In this case, we are tuned to drop B, and I do know the song hangs out on that open chug a lot, and so we're in the key of B. Now, we're not necessarily in B minor. We're not necessarily in B major yet. We got to do some exploring to find out. We can guess that it's probably going to be minor, or some mode that's like Phrygian or something darker, because it's a metal song. So let's go ahead, check it out. We're in drop B. Here's the first thing we're happening is this rhythm. So we have the iconic melody, you know, so we got that. But what we want to look at first is the rhythm happening under that. So I'm going to solo that really quick. It's the 5th track. Okay, it goes like this. Cool. So it's just 2 intervals, and I think it just goes back and forth between those the whole time. Let's see what notes they are. It looks like we have a B and a D for the first one. So that is, sorry, I'm not amazing at music theory. I just know about it, and I'm learning with you guys. So B and a D, minor second, major second, minor third. So that's a B minor third interval. So that implies some sort of minor 1 chord, but let's see. Second chord is this thing. Here we have B flat. Well, we'll call it A sharp because we already have a B. And then we have C sharp. So A sharp and C sharp. So that's like an A sharp minor third. So we bounce between a B minor third interval and an A sharp minor third interval. I think it just does this for a while before it all kicks in. So now that we know that, we can take a look at our melody notes and see what's going on. So we've got a B, C sharp, D, E, we've got F sharp, G, back to the F sharp. We've already notated we have one, to an F. So that seems chromatic because we already have an E and we have an F sharp. So let's mark this F. Chromatic question mark. And then we've got E, we already notated that. We've got an A sharp. We haven't notated that yet. F sharp we've got. There's the chromatic F again. There is the E. I think this repeats. We've got that. That's a G we've marked. Okay, cool. So that's the main melody. I think that just repeats. Let me double check. Okay, so that just repeats. So let's try to kind of figure out what mode or key we're using. So we know we're in some sort of key of B. So I'm going to write out the B major scale really quick. If you have any questions on how I'm figuring this out, let me know. Or if you're watching this later, Google how to find a major scale. Whole half, whole half. So we got B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and then it goes back to B. So there's B major. So let's see what of these we're actually using. So we've got a B, we've got a C sharp, we've got a D. So there's a flat 3. I'm going to notate that down here. We've got an E, we've got an F sharp, but we also have an F, which is chromatic, but F is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th. So that's probably a blue note. That's like a jazz thing. So we use F sharp, we use a G, so we have a flat 6, and we use an A sharp, not an A. I didn't see an A anywhere. This implies we're using harmonic minor, which is what it sounds like with that sneaky blue note in the melody. So I'm gonna make a note on that. So the intro is in harmonic minor. B harmonic minor. If you have any questions about the different versions of minor, let me know. Anyways, so we know the intro is in B harmonic minor. We can also check to see if the notes of this rhythm coincide with that. So like I said earlier, we have a B and a D. So, yep, we use B and D. We have A sharp minor 3rd, which was A sharp and C sharp, which A sharp and C sharp both make sense. And this A sharp right here is unique to the harmonic minor. So this chord progression or interval 2-chord vamp also implies harmonic minor. So the cool thing about harmonic minor is you can use a flat 5, which is that F. So you can use E, F, and F sharp all pretty seamlessly in harmonic minor, which is awesome because that means you get this. Those are all one semitone apart, chromatic as hell. You got, it's just really cool that it adds, not only do you get the cool leading tone, which is normally over in major and not in natural minor, but now you've also got the blue note. So it's almost like it's an 8-note scale secretly. But that blue note doesn't work great in the harmony in the underlying chords. But if you are using harmonic minor harmony, then it gives you the blue note as an option in the lead for the most part. There's no real rules to music, but that's just kind of how it works. So that's what's happening here is we're establishing this 2-vamp chord progression with the rhythm, which is giving us a harmonic minor lead, which also allows us to use the blue note. And they really, they use that blue note. It's right here. It's so blue note. Kind of gives it like a circus vibe, which is awesome. So that's what's happening in the intro. Sweet. If you have any questions about any of that, let me know in the comments. I'm checking periodically. So let's bring all the instruments back in. See what happens right after that circusy intro. So that's the next section. Again, it looks like the rhythm guitars in the lower register, the distorted guitars, are also doing a 2-chord vamp. They're probably backing up that other 2-chord vamp. So right here, you can see we have a B5, which is just a power chord. There in music theory, it's a perfect fifth. That's a power chord. So we've got a B5, which all the notes in the B5 also fit in this guy, because we've got a B, we've got an F sharp, which is the fifth, and then another B, the way this is played. So we're still in harmonic minor, nothing's changed. Also, something that's cool to note is, if you can see, the da 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 chugs don't start right on the measure. They don't start on 1. They start a 16th note before 1. This is like an anticipation. These are used a lot to add like a more organic feel and to add more drive in modern metal music. Lots of bands use them. Whether you think they're metal or not, A Day to Remember uses them a lot in choruses, and I'm sure a lot of other bands too, but I know for a fact A Day to Remember uses this anticipation a lot, like all the time. So anyways, we've got a B5 here. So what's this other chord? So this one is already interesting to me, because if it was a regular power chord, it would go 4, 6, 6, but it goes 4, 7, 6. Oops, I fucked up. 4, 7, 6. So there's something else going on here. So let's see what it is. We've got an A sharp. I'm gonna write these out. We've got an A sharp. Come on, hands. Then we've got another A sharp on the top. So that's just an octave. It's the next one that's interesting. It would be a 6 if it was a perfect fifth, but it's a 7, so the next interval is a minor 6. So this is an A sharp minor 6, which is really cool. So that second note they're using to make it that is an F sharp. So that is, if we look also in our scale, we've got the A sharp and we've got the F sharp. And this chord is kind of just a cool, interesting thing. It's a product of the fact that, well, you know what? So A sharp normally, to be a power chord, like the B from earlier, would use an F. And right now we're in harmonic minor. That F would be chromatic. And the A sharp's kind of messing stuff up. So they, just to stay in the scale, they use the F sharp instead, which is awesome. It's if they would have played a regular power chord here, it would have sounded wrong, because we've set up harmonic minor. Which is cool. I like it. It's like a fancy chord, adds a little bit more love to it. So we've got this 2-chord vamp happening between a B5 power chord and an A sharp minor 6th. But we've also got the clean guitar alternating between a B minor 3rd. And so B minor 3rd and that B power chord are working together. They're not clashing or anything. They're just making everything thicker. And then when we switch to the A sharp minor 3rd, the A sharp minor 6th plays right into that. They're all just notes that work together. So, and it just does that twice, basically. Just the rhythm changes. So first we get that chuggy anticipation rhythm. Cool. Cool. Next chord. 2-chord vamp is established or expanded upon. Now the bass keeps going, add more action, and then the chord hits. This is just to set up the next section. Cool. So now we've set up the next section. So let's listen to that again. Also notice this next section, again, it doesn't start on 1. It keeps this anticipation just lurching us forward constantly. So it comes in. This tab was nice enough to put the vocal melody. That's awesome. Ooh, a sick bass drum. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's so cool. We'll look at it. Okay, cool. So let's see what's happening there. So I like to look at the lowest chords first. That's usually how you establish your harmony. So we've got the guitar playing a power chord built on the 8th fret. So that is, in this case, on G. So we've just have G and D, a G5. which let's see how that fits into our harmonic minor scale. G's good, D's good, and this is our 6th chord, and that goes to 7. This is F sharp and C sharp. Let's check that out. F sharp and C sharp fit in, and that's our 5 chord. Cool. So we have 6, 5 in the chord progression. Got 6, 5. Oh, okay. Got 6, 5. Back up to 6. Back down to 5. And then it drops into 1. That's really cool because 5 wants to push into 1. And so the fact that they went 6, 5, 6, 5. 6 is kind of like 1. It's a little different, but it feels at rest. 5 feels tense. So we're like at rest, but it's not quite home. At rest, tense. At rest, tense. And then it drops in home. That's why that chorus just feels huge. So that's what the bottom's doing. It's a new 2-chord vamp. We're 6, 5, 6, 5. And we could technically still be in harmonic minor. We don't know for sure yet. We got to do some more research. So on top of the G5, we have this octave of F sharp. And so F sharp is not part of a G5. So this is going to add another quality to it. Instead of just an interval, it's going to add some chord quality. So the F sharp is going to make, we've got G5 and D. Here's our G. Here's our D. It looks like the F sharp would make the major 7th. Yeah, that's right. This would be the... Yeah, so that's a major 7. So it's making this big flat 6 major 7 chord. That's awesome. So I'm going to make a note on that. It is a G major 7 happening right there, which is the flat 6 major. And so to kind of reiterate what's happening there, they do this a lot in punk, pop punk, metal, rock, all the time. This is how you turn your power chord progression, which is kind of weak. It's powerful, but it has no implied melody or harmony, really. So you've got this power chord that sets a cool bass, but then you've got some guitar playing the important melody note in the octave, which turns it into a triad or a chord. In this case, it turns into like a G major 7. Technically, the 3 is not there. The 3rd's missing, but it hits like a G major 7, I think. Theory is all subjective, so somebody could argue that. So now we've got a 1 playing in the bass. This is just kind of how it's tabbed is weird. The 1 could easily be an 8 on the bottom. So the bass is doing the same thing as the lower rhythm guitar. Same with the 0 it goes to. That could have been played as a 7 on the low string. So it looks like the bass just follows what the rhythm guitar is doing. Out of tune? No. But it changes a little. It jumps up to the 12th fret, which is just the same note an octave up. So it like adds movement without changing anything really. And then I guess it does a slide back to the bottom. Then it does this cool run. Listen to this. And I'm just trusting that these tabs are pretty accurate. I just downloaded it and started analyzing it. I wanted it to be a blind analyzing. That's just a really cool run. This Pierce the Veil, that's Jaime. Jaime just doing a cool run. And let's see what these notes are. We got a G, which is cool because we're on a G5, so we at least start on the G, work our way to an A sharp, which is still in the key, which is still part of the harmonic minor. So odds are this section's still harmonic minor. E, D, which we know is fine. F sharp. Cool. E. Oh. I said A sharp earlier. I meant F sharp, I guess. My bad. So we don't know it's harmonic minor. Back to D, blah. Those are all the same. So it's just a cool little run. That's all in the current key. I like it. That's pretty nifty. Okay. The one thing we haven't looked at yet is what the octave guitar is doing on the second chord. So this octave guitar is creating like a G major 7. But then we jump up to this octave chord based off of the 4th string, 10th fret. This is an A. Okay, so check this out. I knew this song did this, I just didn't know where. So A is not a part of harmonic minor. It is a part of natural minor with a flat 7. So we have spent all this time setting up this harmonic minor in the beginning, and then we drop out and we switch to natural minor, and we snuck it in through the means of this melody note. Also, that creates we have F sharp, C sharp, and A. That's just an F sharp minor triad. So now we've got a 2-chord vamp from like G major 7 to F sharp minor, which fits. Oh, that's interesting. That means it's 5 chords using like the one that naturally fits in natural minor, which normally people will do some mode mixture to use the dominant 5. In this case, they don't. They just kind of sit in natural minor. So they're pushing natural minor even harder. So they go from harmonic minor to like a straight natural minor. And it feels pretty seamless. And you know why they're doing it. Is because something we'll see as we go through the song is on the sections that are screamed, they're using harmonic minor, because it isn't necessarily, but it could be weirder to sing on harmonic minor because of that natural 7, and then in the melody sometimes they're playing the blue note, the flat 5 as well. So when the singing kicks in, it looks like they switch into natural minor, because that has the more recognized minor tone. So you get this circusy, cool, weird, kind of exotic tone in the scream sections, and then when the singing kicks in, they just switch to regular minor. And that's not actually too hard to do, because all you've got to do is take that 7th scale degree and flatten it just for that part, and then bring it up. So that's what's going on. That's like the bones to this song, which is really, really cool to me. Because honestly, I think Pierce the Veil, and I don't think off the bat, I don't think that much music there or that much hidden thing, even though there probably is. Honestly, if you listen to their whole discography, they do some crazy things. Cool. Still no questions. If you have any questions on what's going on, let me know. We are analyzing Fit for a King, or King for a Day by Pierce the Veil. Just looking at what's going on here. Right here, I've just got the notes for the natural minor scale. That's what we just switched to. We started in harmonic minor. So that's what's going on here. That's cool too, because this chord they end on is very harmonic minor, and then they drop into a chord that could be in either key. So check this out. Harmonic minor. Set it up. Now it's ambiguous. As far as you know, it's still harmonic minor. Until that's not in harmonic minor. So now we're natural minor. Seamless. We do some repetition, because repetition legitimizes. And then we get a full stop. And then we go into the chorus. Let's see what the chord progression is here. So we've got a B5. That's your 1 chord. We've got our flat major 6, which is a G, G5. We've got a minor 4, which in this case is an E5. And then that 5 chord again to push us into the next section, because that's just what 5 chords do. Even if it's the weaker, wimpy, natural minor version of the 5, the minor 5, which in this case is an F sharp 5. And then we've got another melody happening in the octave. It looks like it goes F sharp. Isn't that the 5th of this? Yeah, F sharp's just the 5th of the scale, so this isn't turning it into a triad. Earlier, it was giving us more content and making a triad. In this case, it's not. It's just making the power chord bigger. Same deal here, but instead of the 5th, they're doing an octave of the root. Again, octave of the root right here, but there's a little climb in the melody. An octave of the root. And so this climb is just, let's see, F sharp into G. So just some really safe notes. It's the 4th and the 5th, which is cool. That's like, it's almost like a tiny 1-4-5 progression happening just right here. I lied. This is the 5th going to 6th. I don't know what I'm talking about. Then we go to the next section. So, cool. Basically, we've got the intro, harmonic minor. It's cool, it's quirky, it's wild. It gives you that iconic clean guitar intro. That would not sound like that if it was in natural minor. Because we would not get that chromatic blue note in there the same way. It just would not feel the same. Then we go to natural minor because the singing starts happening, and it's just maybe it was easier and more comfortable for them to sing in natural minor, or just felt better. So we have that into the chorus, cool, and maybe that just makes it easier for you guys to sing subconsciously, whether you know any of this is happening or not, whether they knew any of this is happening. It probably makes it easier to sing subconsciously. So then we go into the next section, and again, we were talking earlier, they keep using anticipations. They're not hitting on 1, they're hitting a 16th note before 1, which they do here. Again, it just keeps that lurching feeling the whole time. You feel like you keep going into something. Okay, cool. So we get this sick hammer-on-y thing. Quick fun fact about this, one of the songs in my very first band, I basically was overly inspired by this riff, and instead of going 5-8, 5-8, 5-8, 5-8, 4-7, 4-7, 4-7, I went 8-5-8, 5-8, 5-7, 4-7, 4-7, 4. So it's not a direct rip-off, but it's basically the exact same thing. And the shit you do when you're first learning how to write music is hilarious. So anyways, how long have we been going? A little while. Okay, cool. So on to the next section. Also, if you recall in the song, this is where screams kick in again. And if you were to first look at the notes here, so we have a B. Cool, we're setting up the root. And really, it's just driving a B the whole time, but the notes accompanying it are changing it. So the first time it comes through, you've got a B and then another B. So B to D. So it's beady, 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 right here. Beady, 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 beady. So, and B and D is just making a minor third. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a minor third. So you're kind of outlining your minor 1 chord. And then your 5 goes down 1 to 4. Your 8 goes down to 1 to 7. And in a lot of cases, this would just look like chromatic planing when you take the exact same shape and just move it somewhere, regardless of how it fits into the key. But in this case, we have an A sharp here and a C sharp, and those don't fit in to natural minor, but they do fit into that harmonic minor from earlier. So we've now used chromatic planing to successfully switch back to harmonic minor right when the screams kick in. What? That's so smart. That's so sick. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this flat 7 because we're back in a natural 7. So literally, here's what's happening. We started harmonic. We went to natural. This is ambiguous. This part, because now we're natural, this is in natural, but it's not. It just is in between. It's the realm that links. And right here, this trick right here, you just move the shape down a fret. That's called chromatic planing, but this chromatic planing is so smart that it's actually just switching into harmonic minor. They could have went everything up 1 fret and it would have been really chromatic and it wouldn't have made as much sense. In this case, they used it as a tool to transition to another mode, which is nuts. That's so sick. Crazy. So they do this technique. And now we're doing a 1/7 2-chord vamp again from the very beginning of the song. Now the bass does it. Just the bass. Harmonic minor. Guitar comes back in. So again, we've really emphasized that pattern. When they're screaming, the song's in harmonic minor. When they're singing, it's in natural minor, which is just so cool to me. Then we've got this thing. It's an octave, but it is specifically, it's F sharp, which is the 5th, yeah? Yeah, F sharp's the 5th. So again, it's that thing that kind of wants to push into the next thing. So we've got this F sharp. Kicks back into the A, right? That's the A. So we've just, again, successfully transitioned out of harmonic minor back into natural minor. And this is actually just the pre-chorus section that happened earlier, but they cut out what the rhythm guitar was doing and then kicked the rhythm guitar back in. So this is actually a section we've already seen, and it does the same thing, basically. It just sneakily introduces the A instead of the A sharp and sets us right into natural minor. We've still got that anticipation, that bass run again. And this is just going to slide into the chorus again. Same shit we already see. And it's because all those sections have singing, so natural minor. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting. So we're going into the breakdown, basically. This is the build-up into the breakdown. So we've got a B5. That's just the root. If you're a metal song and you want the breakdown to come, you hit that open. Hell yeah. Now we got the build-up. Looks like we're hitting that open. Ooh, 6th fret. That's a stinky note. I'll tell you why. Alright, an octave, stinky note. This is the stink bass note. This is what sells the breakdown. Okay, so here's what happened. I'll give you a hint. We're in harmonic minor again. Just back and forth. Natural minor, harmonic minor. Natural minor, harmonic minor. And again, this is a section that gets screamed over. Or in this particular part, they're like talking over it to go into screaming. So, these open notes could be natural or harmonic minor. It doesn't matter. They sound heavy, that's why they use them. But this right here, the open note and the bass is a B. So we don't know. Are we a natural? Are we a harmonic? It switched so many times, who knows? But then the 6th fret, that 6th fret is the F, the flat and 5 from the very beginning. It's the blue note in harmonic minor that you can really only unlock cleanly by switching in a harmonic minor in the context of this song. And so we've never seen it in a root note before. It's only ever been a melody note. So now they've just are really pushing it, but they are hiding it in the bass, which is pretty sneaky. And then the melody line on top of this is F sharp, D, G. So F sharp, D, and G all fit in either key, and that's all over this 0. Then it does it again, F sharp, D, G. Then we switch to that 6th fret, and we get the F. The blue note is in both. That's so cool. They use the blue note from harmonic minor in both the bass and in the melody. And if you look, we've got 10th fret and 11th fret right next to each other. So generally you wouldn't use that 9th fret. You'd go down to 8th fret, but they get a chromatically slip down to that because they're actually in harmonic minor now. And that's that in between. That's the stinky note, the blue note. It's so cool. Check this out. Could still be a natural minor. Nope, we're back in harmonic minor. That's awesome. And I think we get that blue note, but then the next thing it plays, This is a C sharp, which is in the key of either. And I thought we snuck the A in there too, or the A sharp. Maybe not. Anyways, then it drops on the stink note, which is so cool. And then it goes into the breakdown, the juicy part. So let's check this breakdown out. We've got some open note low string chugs, typical, whatever. That could be natural minor, that could be harmonic minor. We've now reestablished harmonic minor, so let's see what they do with it. So those notes right there are nothing too special. We've got B, C sharp, not C3, C sharp, and D. So that's just going up the natural minor scale, or the harmonic, doesn't matter. Da, na, na. That's just the first, second, and third scale degree. Do it again. But then we hit that stink note, which you're only getting from harmonic minor. It's the secret sneaky note that sits in between E and F sharp. You should be using these guys, but you also unlock the stinky note. And those melody notes are the same thing. And then that rhythm comes back in over the top. Just kind of keeps expanding on the same idea. The rhythm just switches up a little bit. Remember, it's all screamed over, so they went all harmonic minor with this. So sick. And so, again, if anybody's tuning into this late, basically, this song is sick because it dances between natural minor and harmonic minor. I've said it 1,000 times already, but it does it a couple of different ways. In the first half of the song, before the breakdown, it's using harmonic minor to use the leading tone, the A sharp, to get this more, like, a more exotic version of minor sounding during the scream sections. Then when it's singing, they just use the flat 7 from natural minor because it's more organic sounding. But then when it gets to the breakdown, they're using harmonic minor to instead use the chromatic note that sits between 4 and 5. It's flat 5. And this is just like it's a chromatic note. It's like gross, it's stinky, it's bluesy, it's the stank note. And putting that in the breakdown is the perfect place to put it because that's where you want the stink bass. That's when it hits, you want your audience to go, this is sick, you know? And then we pull out of that into this thing. We've got singing over it, so odds are we just switched back into natural minor, which is so easy to do with the open fret as your pivot chord, because they both use B as the root. So we just got the chord progression from earlier, basically. This is just a punchy version. Then it all kicks in like the normal one. So we've already basically analyzed this chorus earlier. And we just really drive home that open note. Bam, 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 bam. That's just a metal, hard rock, aggressive thing to do. So that's basically everything happening in the song. There's a lot of that rhythmic lurching right before the sections kick in. And then, what's up, Boogie?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take one. Good.
I've got candy. But, so that's the whole song.
My friend.
If you have any questions about it, leave a comment. And drop a suggestion for who you think should be the next band I look at. As long as it's relatively modern. I know this song's probably like 10 years old now, but as long as it's a relatively modern song and it's metal, alternative, pop, punk, or hard rock, I'll break it down. And if you had any questions about any of the shit I just talked about in this, leave a comment and then I'll just hit you up and we'll talk about music theory. Alrighty. I'm Tyler Rosso. You are the internet. Thanks for watching. Make sure you spin kick the subscribe button, hammer on the like button, and I'll see you in the